Hello friends, about 70% of the friends who watch my videos are not subscribed, and I would be very happy if you did. Also, don't forget to press the like button and leave your comments. Your interaction makes the content reach everyone and contributes to the growth of the channel. Thank you all. From which country or city do you follow the channel? I used to be a night guard at one of the most iconic and haunted buildings in Manhattan, the Dakota Building. You've probably heard of it. The place where John Lennon was assassinated. But no one ever told me that the shooting in 1980 was only the ending of a story that had started long before. I'm not the kind of guy who scares easily. When I signed the contract, I thought, great, I get to guard a historical landmark. But on the very first night, I saw the hallway lights flicker on and off in rhythm with invisible footsteps. And at that time, I was supposed to be the only one in the building. I figured I was just tired, seeing things. Until I found an old crumpled piece of paper taped inside the security desk drawer. No title, no signature. Just 7 handwritten lines like rules, or maybe warnings. Do not open the 7th floor door even if someone knocks. If you hear singing coming from the elevator, do not react. Never look into the east hallway mirror after 2:34 a.m. I laughed at first. Thought it was some old prank left behind. But you know what? For the next 91 nights, I didn't break a single one of those rules, because I learned something. This building knows where you are, and if you break the rules, it shows you things no human should ever see. I'm not telling this story for views. I'm telling it because I'm not sure I was the last one to ever walk out of that place. And if you ever find yourself passing by the Dakota on a cold, silent night, if you hear the sound of small footsteps running down the 7th floor hallway, it's already too late. I got the call on a foggy October afternoon with the New York sky heavy and gray. A small security company offered me a night shift at the Dakota Building, a historical landmark right by Central Park. The manager's voice over the phone was flat distant, as if he were reading from a script. You'll just be on night duty alone. Monitor the cameras, patrol the halls once an hour, and log anything unusual. I chuckled. Unusual, I asked. He hesitated. If it happens, you'll know. My first night at the Dakota. The black iron gate creaked open slowly as if someone inside was pulling it manually. Under the fractured glow of an old yellow street lamp, the building looked more like an abandoned museum than a residential home. The air inside was cold thick with the scent of old wood, damp paper, and something like ash. I never believed in ghosts, but stepping into the lobby, I swear the room tightened around my breath. I met him right before my shift. The previous guard, probably in his 60s, thin, sleepless eyes. He didn't look me in the eye, just handed over a ring of keys, a folded piece of paper, and whispered, "Don't skip the rules, and don't act brave. This building doesn't like pride." Then he walked away. No goodbye, no handshake. I stood there holding the paper, which I'd later realize had saved my life. The paper was old, yellowed handwriting, shaky and uneven. No title, no explanation. Just a list, cold and matter-of-fact. Do not look into the east hallway mirror after 2:34 a.m. Do not go to the 7th floor even if someone calls you there. If you hear children's footsteps, stand still. Close your eyes. Do not move. Always lock the elevator doors at 1:13 a.m. Do not respond if the walkie-talkie speaks in your voice. Never ask anyone in the building who they are. I shivered a little, but brushed it off. Just old guard superstition, I thought. At 2:00 a.m., I sat in the guard room flipping through the security feeds. Camera 4, the east hallway, flickered. A small figure stood still in the middle of the corridor. Didn't move. No clear face. I zoomed in, but when the image sharpened, there was no one there. Just flickering lights and the mirror at the end of the hall. And in that mirror, I saw someone standing behind me. I turned nothing. At exactly 1:13 a.m., a soft ding echoed from down the hall. The elevator doors slid open, though I hadn't pressed any button. Inside was empty, but the floor was soaked. As if someone had stepped out, leaving behind tiny wet footprints, a child's, on the cold tile. I swallowed hard, and for the first time, I remembered what the man in the gray suit said. This building doesn't like pride. I backed away slowly, clutching the paper of rules and reciting each line in my head. What I didn't know then was each rule wasn't a warning, but a door. And I had just stepped through one. The paper was soft like skin, old creased, smudged with fingerprints. I unfolded it again under the flickering desk light. I read each line slowly like a prayer or a curse. Do not look into the east hallway mirror after 2:34 a.m. Do not go to the 7th floor even if someone knocks. If you hear children's footsteps, stand still, close your eyes. Do not move. Always lock the elevator doors at exactly 1:13 a.m. Do not respond if the walkie-talkie speaks in your voice. Never ask anyone in the building who they are. If you see someone who looks like you, leave the floor immediately. At first they read like urban legends. Now, they felt like survival instincts. The rules said to lock the elevator doors at exactly 1:13 a.m. I stood by the panel watching the time on my phone tick down. 1:12:59. Click. I turned the key. From inside the elevator shaft, I heard a soft shuffling like bare feet dragging on metal. Then came 3 knocks. From inside the elevator walls. Slow, deliberate, hungry. But the door stayed shut. I was logging my patrol notes when my walkie-talkie crackled. At first just static, then my name, in my voice. Hey, you forgot to lock the door. Go back. My hands trembled. I hadn't spoken. I whispered into the mic. Who is this silence? Then a hiss. I'm where you should be. I yanked the battery out and didn't turn it back on again that night. That hallway mirror. It was just glass. Until it wasn't. I made the mistake of walking past it at 2:36 a.m. I didn't mean to look, but I caught a glimpse and froze. My reflection was smiling. I wasn't. Blood trickled from its eyes then. It turned around and walked away. I stared at an empty mirror. The sound came from above. Soft. Barefoot. Giggling. Then the pitter-patter moved down the stairwell. Closer. Closer. I stood still in the corridor like the rules said. Eyes closed. Hands clenched. Tiny breaths brushed past my ankles. A small hand tugged my pants. Then a whisper, in a voice no child should ever have. We like you. When I opened my eyes, nothing. But the floor was damp with little footprints. One night the intercom buzzed. Can you come to the 7th floor? There's someone here. A woman's voice. Calm. Normal. I hesitated. Rule number 2. Still. I went to the stairwell, opened the door, and looked up. At the top of the darkened stairs stood a man. He looked exactly like me. Same uniform, same posture, same dead stare. He raised one hand, not to wave, but to beckon me upward. I closed the door, bolted it, and didn't patrol again until dawn. Some things weren't written, but you feel them. One night I passed a painting in the lobby, a portrait I had seen 100 times. But tonight, the woman's eyes followed me, and her mouth was open. I could hear her breathing. I turned the corner and ran. I didn't stop until I was back in the security room, shaking. From that night on, I started writing my own rules, because I knew whoever wrote the original list, they didn't finish it. People think rules are meant to be broken. Not here. Here, rules are the only reason I'm still breathing. And yet, every night the list feels shorter, as if something is crossing them off, one by one. It was my 3rd night. By then, I'd memorized the rules. I followed the schedule. I even tried to act like the place didn't bother me. But the Dakota has a way of listening. And when it senses you're starting to feel safe, that's when it moves. That night, the silence wasn't comforting. It was too heavy, too deliberate, like the building itself was holding its breath. I was walking the 2nd floor hallway. Old wooden panels lined the floor, thick rugs muffling each of my steps. Then suddenly I stopped. Because I heard it. Footsteps. Not mine. Coming from above the 3rd floor. They were light, quick, like someone running barefoot. But there was no one living on the 3rd floor. Not anymore. I called out, "Hello, is someone up there?" The footsteps stopped. Then they began again, coming down the stairs. I turned to face the stairwell. No one. Just dim lights flickering above the old wooden handrails. Then the sound shifted. Wet footsteps. slapping lightly against the floor tiles, getting closer. I froze. The hall was empty, but the footsteps, they were walking past me. I felt a gust of cold air brush my side, like something just passed through me. I held my breath, turning slowly. Nothing. But when I looked down the hallway, carpet had begun to darken, wet prints, small and barefoot, appearing one by one, heading into the east corridor. I rushed back to the security room and pulled up camera 4, the east hallway. The screen was fuzzy, flickering like something was interfering. But then I saw it. A shadow. Not a person. Not clearly. Just a vague, childlike shape, moving slowly past the mirror at the end of the hall. And for a second, just one, it stopped. It turned and looked directly into the camera. The image warped. A piercing screech of static filled the room. Then the screen went black. Heart pounding, I locked the security room door. I tried to rationalize it, bad wiring, tricks of light, sleep deprivation, but I couldn't explain what came next. A soft knock at the door. Then, a whisper. "You see us now?" Not me. Us. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the corner of the room, lights on, staring at the static on the monitors. And eventually, the building went still again. But not peaceful. It was like it had shown me a piece of itself, just enough to let me know it was real. And that it was watching. People think ghosts are echoes, harmless memories. But the Dakota doesn't echo. It whispers. And that night, it spoke directly to me. It had been 2 weeks. I hadn't slept more than 4 hours straight. The rules were working, that much I knew. I followed every single one, even when it made no sense. Even when it meant standing still while cold fingers brushed my arm. Even when it meant locking a door that no one had opened. But deep down, curiosity began to boil beneath the fear. Because what could possibly happen? If I just looked into the mirror, it was 2:31 a.m. I stood in the east hallway. The mirror stretched floor to ceiling, its edges chipped and foggy with age. The hallway was dead quiet. I counted the seconds with my breath. 2, 33, 58, 59, 2:34. I stepped forward. I told myself I'd look just once, just for a second. The moment my eyes met the glass, my reflection blinked. But I didn't. It tilted its head, smiled. Its eyes began to darken black, spreading from the pupils like ink in water. I backed away. But the reflection stepped forward. It raised its hand and touched the inside of the mirror. The glass rippled. I turned to run, but the hallway had changed. The lights behind me flickered and died one by one. The air grew thick, heavy, like I was underwater. Then, the lights in the reflection stayed on. I was standing in the dark, but my reflection was still perfectly lit. And it was smiling wider now. Blood leaked from its mouth. Then it mouthed something I'll never forget. "I'm ready." And in the distance behind the reflection, I saw movement. Something else. Walking in the mirror world. Dozens of pale figures crawling toward the surface like insects behind glass. I ran. I didn't look back. When I reached the security room, I slammed the door shut, gasping. But the monitors were all wrong. The hallway cameras, they didn't show empty corridors. They showed me, still standing in front of the mirror, still staring into it. Except, that version of me slowly turned to the camera and smiled. I didn't go back to that hallway. For the rest of the night, the cameras remained warped, flickering, humming, showing my doppelganger wandering the building. Sometimes standing still, sometimes staring into doors. Once right outside the security room. I turned off the lights and sat with my back to the wall, holding the rule sheet like a Bible. I broke one. And now, something else walks freely in my place. You think you're in control. That fear is something you can master. That rules are for cowards. But here's the truth. The Dakota isn't haunted. It's watching. And when you disobey, it makes space for something else to take your place. It was 3:07 a.m. I was searching for batteries in the security room drawer, the one that always jammed halfway. But that night, it slid open smoothly. Inside, beneath a stack of old ID badges and dust-covered flashlights, I found it. A leather-bound notebook. Cracked at the spine, damp with age, and wrapped in a rubber band that had long since dried and snapped. The initials JM were barely visible on the cover. I didn't recognize the name, but I would. The first page sent chills down my spine. It was the same list of rules, word for word, but beside each rule was a small handwritten note. Didn't listen, lost 2 fingers. Broke this once. Something followed me home. You can survive the footsteps, but not the laughter. Never open the elevator at 113. I saw it smile. The words weren't written in panic. They were steady, resigned. Like someone who had accepted that they were already dead, just not officially. I covered the lobby painting with a sheet today. Her eyes keep following me. I saw her blink last night. I'm not imagining it. She whispered something through the frame. I think she wants out. I felt a chill crawl down my spine. That same portrait still hung in the lobby. And tonight, I remembered hearing a low breath as I passed it. I thought it was my own. Now I wasn't so sure. I heard someone crying inside the elevator, but the camera feed showed it empty. When I opened it, there was a child curled up in the corner, pale, no eyes. She looked at me without looking and said, "You're the new one. We all were once." I slammed the book shut. My hands were shaking. I'd never seen that child, but I'd heard her footsteps. I'd followed her trail. We all were. How many had there been before me? I broke the mirror rule. Just once. I think something took my place. My reflection smiles without me, talks when I'm silent. If someone finds this, please don't trust what you see in the monitors. I flipped to the next page, but it was torn. A smear of something reddish-brown marked the edge. Blood. At the very back of the journal was one final page. No date, just a sentence. If you're reading this, I'm probably one of them now. I'm sorry. Beneath that, taped to the page, was a photo. Black and white, faded. A security guard standing outside the Dakota. It was him. But in the background, reflected in the glass behind him, was another version of him. No eyes, just a grin. I keep the journal in my bag now. I read it every night before my shift begins. Not because I want to, but because something in this building wants me to remember. And I think it's waiting to write the next chapter with my name at the top. It started with the clock. I was in the security room, eyes aching from staring at monitors too long. I blinked, checked the wall clock. 3:12 a.m. I stood to stretch, then I looked again. 3:11 a.m. Had it. Moved backwards, I checked my phone. It said 3:12. The camera feed timestamp said 3:10. I laughed. Just a glitch, I told myself. But something deep in my gut twisted, and I hadn't even seen the worst of it yet. I rewound camera 2 to double-check a hallway patrol. But when I hit play, I saw myself. Walking past the hallway, then turning around, and walking past it again. And again. Same expression, same steps, same head turn. Over and over. But I don't remember ever walking that loop. Worse, when I looked out into the live feed, I was still there, in the loop, still walking. I left the security room to clear my head. I passed the portrait in the lobby, the one from the journal. This time, I didn't dare look. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw her. She blinked. Twice. Slowly. And I swear she smiled. Then the hallway behind me, lit up on its own. One light. Then the next. Then the next. As if something was walking with me. I left the walkie turned off since the voice incident, but it powered on. By itself. Crackling static. Then, "You're not where you think you are." My own voice. Calm. Cold. Then another voice joined in. Someone crying. It was me. Begging. "Let me out. Please." I didn't mean to look. I dropped it. The sound continued even without batteries inside. As I turned a hallway corner, I saw him. Me. standing at the far end half in shadow, expressionless, but wrong, his posture slightly off, like a puppet held by strings. He raised one hand and waved, slow, robotic. I ran, but when I got to the next intersection, he was already there, closer. The last thing I remember that night was hiding in the stairwell. I curled up with the rule sheet in my hand, eyes wide open until exhaustion claimed me. When I woke up, I was back in the security room. Everything was clean, normal. The monitors were blank like nothing had ever happened, but taped to the monitor was a photo. Me, sleeping in the stairwell. Underneath it, welcome back. We missed you. The Dakota doesn't kill you. It fragments you, tears you into versions. Some of them wander the halls, some whisper through static, and some are still trapped in yesterday. And me, I don't know which version of myself is writing this right now. I just know one thing: I'm not the only me in this building anymore. I woke up in the security room. Lights humming, monitors glowing. Everything was still. Normal. Too normal. The rule sheet was back on the desk, crisp and untouched. No blood, no folds. And the time, 8:02 p.m. The start of a new shift. Had I dreamed all of it? But then I looked down at my hand. Still clenched around the photo, the one from the mirror. My face, my reflection, smiling. Still here, still waiting. As I reviewed the footage, a sharp knock hit the window of the security room. I turned, slowly. A man stood there, security uniform, pale, familiar. He waved through the glass, same way I would, same way I had. I opened the door instinctively. He stepped in without a word and handed me a folder. Inside, a checklist, new protocols, a key card, and a single note. It's your turn now. I tried to follow him, but he vanished at the hallway turn as if absorbed by the building. And then I started seeing more of them. Shadows in stairwells, figures in reflections. Some looked like me. Some looked like the previous guard JM. Some I couldn't recognize, but they all wore the same uniform. Like an army of past selves. And they were watching me. All of them. Silently. I went back to the monitors, hoping for proof I was still sane. But the footage had changed. Each hallway showed me in different moments. Different clothes. Different facial expressions. In one I was sleeping. In another I was screaming. In another, I was staring directly at the camera, unmoving as if waiting. And in one of them I was walking out the front door of the Dakota. I hit pause, zoomed in. But the face wasn't mine anymore. It was empty. I opened the rule list one final time, and at the very bottom, a line I'd never seen before. If you're reading this, it's already too late to leave. The lights in the security room flickered. A low hum began, mechanical and alive. The hallway camera switched and showed someone walking toward the security room. Me. Not just a look-alike me from earlier. From days ago. From a night I remembered living. He stopped outside the door, raised his hand, knocked. I didn't answer. I didn't move. I just stared at the screen until it faded to black. And when the emergency lights clicked on, I was alone. But not the only one in the building, because I'm still here. Still doing my rounds, still following the rules. But every night the building shifts, the faces change, the footage becomes unfamiliar. And the only thing I can never answer, the thing that gnaws at me every single night is, what if I already left? And this version of me is what got left behind. No screams, no blood, no escape. Just loops, versions, replacements, and silence. So if you're ever near the Dakota at night and you hear footsteps when no one's there, or you see someone watching you from a dark window, ask yourself this: are they trapped inside, or are you the one who hasn't figured it out yet? If you found this story valuable and interesting, please hit the like button. This really helps us bring you more good and valuable content. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think, what questions you have, or what topics you would like us to cover next. We love hearing from you. Of course, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next stories. Thank you for taking the time to read my stories.